All right, Vigor Warriors back with another episode of our 1% Club. And we're going to continue focusing on trying to talk about topics that help you guys. So thanks for your comments, feedbacks. Subscribe, like, and comment as we talk about these type of things. My major goal at this point, my major goal at this point is to try to help as many people as I can, given the age and stuff that I'm doing. So sorry about that. We're moving around a little bit here. But I'm trying to focus on different topics and things that you might find interesting and things that you can do. Now, I have taught communication for 30 some years in the colleges and in high school, and I've taught a lot of areas in math and physics and things like that, and a lot of interpersonal type communication. So what I'm saying, a lot of times, not only because of the journey I'm on, but also based on some of the research and things that I found in my academic studies, to try to help you guys understand things from my perspective and maybe help you guys a little bit in some of the ideas and things we're talking about. So here is the one that people have been talking about in my class a little bit, and that's when they watch TikToks and they see things that when people, they see a person without makeup on, and this is male and female, obviously more female than male, but there's a lot of males using makeup as well, that you have makeup with no makeup on, the person looks like a totally different person. So I'm going to call this one the deceptive illusion of people, okay? And what we're talking about is that people and things are not what they seem to be, people. And that's the thing to look at. Now, I say that because in all the years I'm teaching, one of the things that I've always taught people to do, how to interview for jobs, how to sell themselves, and sell who they are, and brand themselves. And so I've known, I've seen this through all kinds of different types of marketing and branding types of plans I've seen over the years, how people actually sell themselves. And when you think about it, in a large sense, you are selling yourself no matter what you're doing. You're selling yourself every day down the street, because you never know what opportunity may hit. Sometimes people come and they offer you jobs. Sometimes they just want to be friends. People are attracted to you. You end up then becoming more successful. So given that fact, you can almost say that everything you do is trying to sell. And we do the selling as well. We sell, other people sell to us, those things. Even relationships, guys, there's not a heck of a lot of difference between going for an interview and also going for a date. Because many times what you're trying to do is the same principle. You're trying to sell yourself so people buy you. And when you're trying to buy you, you're using all kinds of ways to do that. Now, just like the case of advertising, there are people who can be themselves, be who they are. There's no fakery going on. There's no fake images, things like that. And they will sell themselves based on who they are. That, to me, is the right approach. Because what you're doing is telling people, this is who I am, right or wrong, and you're going to accept me who I am. That, to me, in the case of males, is an alpha male. Someone who say, I don't care what people think. I don't care what you guys think about me. This is who I am. And you either like it or you don't, right? The same thing I feel about the channel. If you don't like what I'm saying, then you can you don't have to listen to my videos, right? But I'm trying to help, honestly, the best I can from my own perceptions. And whether or not that's something you like or not, that's your choice. But the idea then is that I'm selling who I am. And this is what I'm standing for and who I stand for. But when you look at things the way they are presented, especially when people have images up there and, movies and all kinds of stuff, it is a false illusion, gang. Everything you're seeing, whether it's sometimes it's people, sometimes it's, most things are not real. And this creates a different image in your mind. A lot of times people buy the fantasy. That's why movies are so effective. Let's look at scary movies, for instance, horror movies, right? They're based on an image of myth, whether it's Dracula or Frankenstein or the werewolf, or you look at Star Wars. All these type of movies are based on fantasy. That's why they call it science fiction, sci-fi fantasy, right? People buy things because of who they think they could become, or They buy it because they imagine a fantasy world. Because a lot of people, guys, they don't like living in the present world. Maybe they have problems here, problems there, financial problems, relationship problems, and they rather sometimes go fantasy. And it's okay with that. Once in a while, there's nothing wrong with that, right? To go see a football game or a movie or things like that. But beware, gang, that what you're seeing is fantasy, right? What you're seeing is fantasy, especially if it's made up stuff. I remember taking my kids to see somebody who was a movie star at the time, and they said to me, this doesn't look like anything that I'm seeing on the movies, because the person had no makeup on. And see, that's what you have to realize. A lot of times when people are saying something to you, or you're seeing a picture and you're getting, you're losing energy because of the picture, or you want to see the person so bad that you're desperate because of the image, they're selling you, guys. They're selling you what this is. Don't fall for that stuff. Now, I did for years, so I know. Because when you see the person without makeup, that's going to tell you about the person. I know people now that get divorced with each other because, I gotta wait, people crossing here. I know people getting divorced with each other because they found out what the person looked like after they made love, and the person looks nothing like they did before. And they didn't like it, so they got divorced. These things happen more now because people get divorced very easily with things. But the thing about it, guys, is the fact of the matter is that deception is out there. Because people don't think twice about it. If they really want you to buy a product, they're going to put things out there. Look at the market we have. It's a high connection between pornography and the enhancing area, right? Viagra, all these type of things. Well, it's high. It's high because people know that if they got to go out and buy something, they're going to buy something to enhance, their drive and things like that. And because of that, then they're going to go ahead and say, okay, I'll buy your product because now you can, somehow increase your potency and things like that. It's all to make you buy a product. This is what they do. Images on TV, they're all to buy it. Why do you think this stuff is so free, right? Because they're trying to get you to sap into it to go deeper into something else. And then you're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper, and all of a sudden you're caught within your cage and you can't get out. And that's why it's important to realize that what you're seeing is an illusion, is not really real. Now, when you have a person in front of you and you see how they look without makeup on, then you know what you're dealing with. And then if you say to yourself, okay, I'm happy with this person I'm dealing with, I'm okay with it, that's great. You're in a relationship, hopefully long-term relationship, and you're not losing your energy all the time for nothing. You're basically got a purpose. You're on your purpose. You don't need to fake around with all kinds of fake stuff. The same thing, guys, when people do false illusions on how much money they make. They're driving fancy cars and things like this to try to impress people. This goes back to an insecurity that people have. They want to try to impress you by all the things that they're doing, even though they're fake and shallow inside. And it's, once again, another one of these deceptive things. So you have to be a smart consumer. You have to understand that when you are basically looking at something, it's, for the most part, an image, a deceptive image. It's not what you're seeing. It's an illusion of what's real. Because if people are not that way, most people don't think they're attractive. This is another thing to look at. Attractiveness. There's people who only think they're attractive when they have makeup on. In fact, this is an interesting type of thing, guys. If you tell somebody, especially if you tell a woman, if you tell a woman they're attractive, most of them, they may have an ego to themselves, but most of them are not going to really appreciate it because they know that the reason they're attractive is because of all the makeup. Now, if you say to a person who is natural, who's looking like themselves, that they're attractive, you're probably going to get more use out of that compliment and really affect them a lot more than you would if they had makeup on. Because people know down deep whether or not they're attractive or not. And if you look at a person without the makeup and their makeup on, you'll see you'll be shocked. I've seen people shocked. But you realize that images can make you look good. Heck, you go on the one website, I think it's called Dove, if I remember right. I think my students have looked at this. You can actually go ahead and do an apple. Go ahead. Oh, thank you. You can do an apple and actually make that into a beautiful person. You can do the apple and make that into a beautiful person. And the thing about it is that you can create any kind of Photoshop you want to make something look good that's not looking good, that you would not have bought in the first place. They do the same thing with advertising all the time, guys. Why do you think in the morning you get a Burger King advertisement that this juicy looking hamburger or a McMuffin or whatever it might be, McDonald's or something like that? You're looking at things, they're trying to make you sounds great, right? I always remember one of my sons, they had wanted to buy this toothpaste, and I couldn't figure out what this was. My son was 6, 7 years old. Wanted to buy toothpaste. The idea was that he wanted to buy the toothpaste because he saw a beautiful girl and guy kissing because of the toothpaste he used, and so now he wants to buy the same toothpaste. He wants this girl to kiss him in class. And I tried to explain to my son, obviously, that's not the only thing that mattered with it. That there's more to it than that, right? But he could not really understand that concept because he saw the connection between what he saw and what happened afterwards. He made a logical jump that wasn't correct, but once again, it's done on purpose by the advertisers who are trying to sell a product and also sell an idea. And we know that people go watch movies because of the violence and the sex. So, we know that. That's also another thing that's sold. But beware, my friends, beware. Beware of all the false images around you. And you get caught up in those type of things, and all of a sudden, now you're focusing on an image, a fantasy that can't come real. And the danger in that, as far as our retention and our journey goes, is that once you start doing that, now you're going to go into more and expecting more and more and more. This is what happens to a lot of issues. I've seen case studies of serial killers and people like that, and it starts off with just images, right? It starts off looking at images and trying to just look at those first. Then a person, loses their energy on that. They're not happy with that, so now they go into more deeper stuff and deeper crap, and all of a sudden now they're not happy with that. Because what you've done is you've objectified the people in these movies, in these shows. And so they're not real. And so what difference does it make if I kill off a non-real person, right? Those type of things are what people are thinking about. Because they're so caught up in this fantasy world that's been created for them that they don't realize that it's affecting them so bad, they're doing all kinds of bad type of things. And you can certainly get deeper and deeper into this thing as you go along and realize that I'm caught in a cage. And we'll do a video on that pretty soon. But the idea is that you don't want to get caught up in this fantasy world that you're seeing. And the idea is that people get caught into this stuff all the time because they're looking at images, they're looking at a world that they think is outside of themselves, and they think somehow other people are enjoying themselves, having more fun than they do. They watch people drinking beer and at a party, and they think, okay, this is life, this is fun, okay? You have certain advertisements talking about this is the life, right? This is the way it should be. Well, guys, this is still a fantasy. You're looking at an illusion. And a lot of people who try to have this type of illusion, they get caught so far, they've got to go deeper and deeper into it to get any sort of enjoyment out of most of this stuff. Now, if they're living their regular life, that's fine. But people a lot of times don't do that, and that's how they get caught in all these type of things. So again, beware of the deceptive natures of all these illusions you're seeing, because guys, they're not real. And to my 1%ers out there, it is not real. And remember our C model, right? Confidence comes from control, which comes from retention, and then communicate those real things that you are. Till next time, battle on.